came to the plant really from a love of Mother Earth and a love of the plants and studying all the plants and how we are really self-healing, and that, Mother Earth really, she has been propagating consciousness with millions of people across the planet through her plants, and really ushering in a renaissance is what I'm really devoted to.
Hey guys, we're here at Hall of Flowers, Santa Rosa, day 1. We're here recording the podcast all day. I'm here with a lovely guest and our host.
That would be me. I'm the host.
Sorry, I did a little awkward.
No, you're good. So we're here at Hall of Flowers at the Edwin Rubis Stage, and we're here with Julie with SKUNK Magazine, the owner and founder of SKUNK Magazine. And can you give us a little background, Julie?
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, guys. And it's an honor to be together here, and also fighting for Edwin Rubis to be free, and really for the plant to be free and for people to be free. My background is I'm a certified herbalist of 26 years. I came to the plant really from a love of Mother Earth and a love of the plants and studying all the plants and how we are really self-healing, and that, Mother Earth really, she has been propagating consciousness with millions of people across the planet through her plants, and really ushering in a renaissance is what I'm really devoted to. My background is a health and wellness industry, yoga, consciousness, before getting into cannabis 18 years ago. 18 years ago, I came into the vaporizer segment. I took Magic Flight, a vaporizer company, global, very successful endeavor. And then I left there and became co-owner of SKUNK 13 years ago.
Wow.
And I became actual owner about 6-7 years ago. I bought it from the previous owner, and I moved it from Quebec, where it was founded, to California. And that's what I've been doing the last 13 years, is I've been just focused on SKUNK Magazine.
Can I ask, did you see the advertisements that SKUNK Magazine's for sale? How did that happen? I mean, how did you find out that SKUNK was, how did that occur?
Well, I was actually, because I opened up the global market for the vaporizer company, they made $10 million in profit the final year I was there. So I really opened up a global market for that company. And that meant that I was I've gone to 15 Cannabis, the big show in Europe. I've gone to events all over the world. And I met the former owners at a Canadian show, Treating Yourself. And that was back in, 2011, 2012, and maybe 2011. And, they were really impressed by what I had done. They wanted to cover, so they covered the story in the magazine. And then I'm a writer. I've been a writer since I was a young woman, a girl, and it's a devotion of mine. I'm a poet. And so I actually pitched a story idea to the former owners, and I started writing for them.
Okay.
And that's how the relationship developed. And then they came through a big seed trafficking, seed importation court case in the Canadian courts. They were the largest importer of seeds from Europe into Canada at the time. And they took over seed trade when Mark Emery went down. And so when they took it over, they really started moving a lot. And the court battle went on for 5 years. It was really brutal. And at that time, it dawned on me that I could actually be of help to them, that I could actually help to preserve, protect, and modernize skunk, bring skunk into a new era. And so that's what I negotiated for back in 2012, 2013. I negotiated for ownership to do that work for skunk. And that's what I've done the last 13 years. And I've protected it, modernized it, evolved it, and I'm bringing it into a new era. It's quite a beast.
I love diving into that because it helps people learn how to position yourself. You were working, you found out some information, you were lucky, it was timing, you saw an angle, you took advantage of that, all these components came together and boom, then suddenly now you're the owner of one of the coolest magazines in cannabis.
Yeah, I think, I'm a first generation Cuban immigrant. My family settled in California, which was different because my grandmother was European. She lived in Catalan She's Catalana and spoke French, Cuban, Spanish, sorry, French, Spanish, and
Say hello to my little
Catalan.
friend.
So, for me, I grew up or was raised as an activist by my parents, my grandparents. They taught me about Howard Zinn, Noam Chomsky, Cesar Chavez, Dolores Huerta, Zapatistas. And
I fell asleep in a Noam Chomsky lecture.
Oh, great.
Great.
1991, Boston University. Sorry, go ahead.
At Boston too is crazy.
Howard Zinn was one of my professors at BU.
No way. Yeah, well, that's amazing. He's a luminary. But, my grandparents had me doing activism when I was 9, 10 years old. I would picket on the streets. I had to write on every letter and the Cuban embargo. So they raised me with this sense of social justice, also environmental justice and economic justice for all. And that's really what's driving my work and inspiring my work. But what they also taught me is, being a woman, being a Latina, being a self-made woman, I've never wasted an opportunity. They taught me to pay attention to opportunity. And they taught me old world values, good manners, strong work ethic, perseverance, grit, and focus. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I did. That's how I've raised my son. And that's how I think that, these opportunities came to me, was because the hard work and the focus met the opportunity and it was not wasted.
Yep.
And that's the way that I've also survived and protected skunk.
Yep. And you've actually shown that through the last few years. You've been a steward of the plant for a while. And for me, Skunk, before I even knew you, Skunk was just a magazine very similar to a High Times. It was just this publication that was about culture. Obviously, the name's awesome, but there's always been something for people my age about a magazine, something you can touch. There's a lot of digital media now.
Does it smell skunky?
Yeah, there's always something about a magazine, and you always do amazing with it. It's glossy, the colors are good, everything pops.
She was just showing me the new design.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So we talked
texture.
about how you got to Skunk and how Skunk has got to now, but let's talk about what's the plans for Skunk moving forward. How do we? Because everybody's pivoted, right? High Times is gone, right? So we all know that you can't keep doing the same thing for 40 years. Totally. So what's next for Skunk?
Thank you. Yeah, well, my whole work in the industry for 18 years is really about listening within and letting Mother Earth and plant spirit inform me. I really don't look outside, I look within. And that's also been my secret sauce. The other thing is I really have protected the pure parts of skunk, which is it's the only cannabis magazine globally to be devoted to organic cultivation practices. And I've always felt that Skunk is a magazine of the future, because it's talking about something that's the exception, not the norm.
Yeah.
But I believe in the next 10 years, organics is going to become the norm. And many things that we see ruling the industry right now are going to become obsolete, because that's the nature of evolution. And that's what I'm devoted to. What you said is true, is that in this industry, it's extremely treacherous, it's extremely challenging. You need to have a lot of perseverance and a lot of grit. That word has been coming up a lot. That when the chips are down, you don't give up. You innovate, you think creatively. And like I said, when I create, I like to create from a place of listening. I say, what is the need? What needs aren't currently being met?
Right.
And how could I meet that need through this vehicle? And what I've been really keen on is that, Skunk is a global lifestyle brand that's 18 years old. And so I've been wanting to for a long time, and kind of as a poetic fuck you, is to sell seeds legally in the U.S. as a poetic fuck you to what the former owners had to go through, and how treacherous it is when you're threatened with losing your freedom, threatened with being incarcerated, and that's something that still many people around the planet are in fear and at risk of going to jail. So I really wanted to monetize the brand in a way that, yes, is going to help to create wealth and financial solvency for the brand, but also that's meaningful. So one thing I'm doing is seed sales. I'm also doing licensing projects. We've got licensing projects in California, Oregon, Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Vermont. They're just coming all over the place. And then I have
Are you licensing out the name Skunk, or you're licensing out other brands?
So the way that it works is very cool. Because, for 13 years, like I was telling Bill last night, for 13 years I've gone after ad dollars. And, it gets really exhausting. And especially with the economic squeeze that everybody's going through, it's really a really kind of tiring conversation to constantly be having to ask for an ad, ask for companies to support us. So the licensing deals, what's unique about it is that I work with partners that embody the values of skunk, which is organic, sustainable cultivation practices, craft, woman-owned, minority-owned, any aspect that for me lights up what skunk stands for. That's a perfect partner that I could do profit sharing with. So the difference is I come to them and I say, hey, kick skunk 10%, and then we're going to light you up in print, online, through social, telling the story from seed to sale of what you're doing. So it's the idea of sacred commerce, conscious consumerism. This has always been something that's deeply inspired me. When I was in the health and wellness sector, for me, this renaissance, and it says on every magazine, the Green Renaissance, I coined that term back in 2013. And the reason why is I do feel we're in a second renaissance. I do believe, as I said, that Mother Earth has propagated consciousness to usher in a second renaissance, and that this renaissance is about us becoming earth connected again. And the fact that legitimately on the planet right now, we have the intelligence, we have the ability, we have the desire to have a more regenerative, sustainable society and industry. In fact, if you ask humans, most humans want that. The only thing that's stopping us is the 1% that is holding this greed-laden kind of paradigm, this scarcity paradigm that they've created. And so for me, when I think about skunk, and I think about the ideals that we're holding for organics, earth connection, self-healing, self-empowerment, self-sustainability, I think about that those ideas are not worth anything if they're not grounded in reality with excellence in business. So I'm always focused on that if I want these ideals to actually come into being, I have to prove it with good business.
I probably shouldn't ask this question with Bill sitting next to me, but I'll go ahead and ask anyways. So indoor cultivation, outdoor cultivation, indoor is just like thing of the past in your mind because it's not sustainable, it's not organic. It could be organic, but it's not natural. It's difficult to be organic, right? Yeah, but should all cultivation be outdoor sun grown? Is that the ideal? Is that the goal?
No, so that's a great question, by the way, and I'm happy you asked.
Because I've been wondering that since I started in the industry aggressively in 2012, and I looked around and I'm like, one day all of this is the only reason it's indoor was because of prohibition.
Yeah.
It's like this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But
No.
so many cultivators are excellent indoor cultivation. So much of the best stuff. Let's talk about this a little bit. I really don't.
I will, yeah.
I'm not an
very
expert.
happy to dive in. So,
You were clearly an expert.
well, yeah, this is a really important actual question because it's really important that the community knows what skunk's commitments are. And really what skunk's commitments are, and even with my licensing deals, I'm choosing partners that do indoor, outdoor, light depth, greenhouse. It doesn't matter to me, but it's key that they do it organically and sustainably. And what I find most fascinating right now, because I have been in the industry for 18 years and I've been in the global industry, so I've gotten to watch the trends, I've gotten to see the evolution. And what you said is true. A lot of what we do right now is because of the duress of prohibition. Why did we go indoors? Why did we hide? Why did we have to do these things? Why did we use, companies like Advanced Nutrients? Because that's what we had to do under the pressure of prohibition. That being said, now that things are opening up, it's still the case that, would everybody love to grow outdoor organic sun-grown? Is that the pinnacle, the epitome of what we want to see? Of course. Mother Nature is superior to anything. But in reality, so many people around the planet want to grow, and they're going to have to grow indoors because of climate, because of, the city they're in, or whatever it is. So for me, it's more about the idea of having a dialogue. I love people like No Till Kings or Bokashi Earthworks or Build a Soil. They are proving right now that you can do clean indoor growing at scale and that you actually get superior product. And what I find really fascinating is, I've been talking about a green renaissance and organics for 13 years. Like 13 years ago, people were like, who's this crazy bitch talking about a renaissance?
Oh, they didn't say bitch.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely did. Oh, believe me. Okay.
Notice I said crazy?
Believe me.
I left that out. That's
Women
great.
in the industry, I've got my stories, baby. But that being said, now they're like, oh yeah, we're in a renaissance. This is happening. People are very, very open to it now because they see evidence of it themselves.
Yeah.
And what I find fascinating is that a lot of people are actually adopting organic practices that don't care about Mother Earth or our soils and our waterways. What's changing their minds is the science. The yields are greater. The terpene content is greater. And so it's funny, like the dialogues we can have now is like, what, you don't want to make more money?
Yeah.
You have a problem making more money? Is that a problem? Because people who just want to think about money now are changing their mind to organics. And honestly, I was talking with somebody last night about it. I think it's just fucking hilarious because to me, it's really Mother Earth having the final say. Of like, through your own greed, I'm going to turn you to organics.
Yeah.
And she's superior. So I just see that she's going to have the last say and that things are going to change a lot over the next 10, 20 years. And we're here for it.
I feel as if I could talk to you at length about a lot of subjects for hours and hours and hours and hours. I really could. But we want to keep this to a reasonable amount of time. Are you the editor as well?
Yes, I'm the editor-in-chief.
That is good. That makes me want to read because your knowledge, it is, you're helping choose the stories. You're helping frame everything. So your spirit is going to come through in the magazine, which is great.
Part of the culture filling.
Yeah, no, that gets me to 2 points I want to make. First of all, what I always love about, what I still love and have always loved about Skunk is that the culture stays in there, and it's because you're involved. But also, too, for me, Skunk has a special spot for us because it was the first time I could tell my parents to go to Barnes & Noble and go get a magazine that had an article that we either wrote or published that was about cannabis at a Barnes & Noble. So for us, Skunk always has a special place in our heart.
Thank you for that. And I love you guys so much. I mean, people may not know, but Beard Bros has 1% ownership in Skunk. And I've loved Beard Bros for a long time because we both have a sense of alignment, shared values. And for me, yes, it's always been about social justice, environmental justice, and economic justice, which means we can never leave the activism out of this.
Right.
It's never okay for me personally to only talk about the money making. The green rush, soullessness, really is distasteful and ugly to me because cannabis and hemp are here to actually improve our lives and improve the lives of others and improve the lives of our industry, how we do business. And so, and I feel like I want to say one more thing about how we're monetizing because what's key is I'm not only doing profit sharing with farmers, but I'm also doing profit sharing. I have a new head shop program that I've inked with Stuff and Things in Humboldt. And they're gonna be Skunk's official global online head shop, and we're gonna be putting out themed subscription boxes because I do feel that the future is very much direct to consumer. Yeah. Our post-pandemic world is very much changed in terms of how you market and how you engage with your marketplace. And I feel that the future is really about authenticity, intimacy, true intimacy building with your base, and also doing fun direct-to-consumer engagements. So we're going to have a range of themed subscription boxes, connoisseurs box for $29 that you can ship anywhere. Then we're doing this alongside the money-making programs with the seeds, with the flower, with the hash. And I'm selecting incredible groups like Sonoma Hill Farms. They're growing out 230 pounds of chocolate skunk this season with Purple Caper Genetics. Shout out to Purple Caper and Sonoma Hill Farms. We also have Scott from Earl Hill that's doing award-winning hash. He's doing chocolate skunk hash for us. So the idea is that we are really interested in working together with people that create award-winning craft product, and we make money together. It's a win-win-win. It's the idea of the abundance mentality versus the kind of scarcity nightmare that we've all been forced to live under.
Real quick question. Are all your old Skunk magazines archived well digitally online and available to members or to people who just come and look?
I have back issues that extend pretty far back.
Yeah, there's probably some good stuff in there.
Site. And I do things digitally and in print. I'm a big believer in having a multifaceted expression. So, we used to do 13 issues a year. I took it down to 4, so we go with the seasons now. But I will never abandon print. I feel that the romance and the poetry of print there's something very powerful, the power of the word, the power of print. That will never end because it's ancient. I will always protect that. But that being said, I'm doing a lot of dynamic stuff digitally. Definitely people should go check out Skunk Global Marijuana Culture. We
Do you
create
guys have
content weekly. And then our social engagement,
Yeah, how do people, social media, how do people get in touch with you?
Skunk Magazine. You have to fill it all in because they
Shadow
you know,
band.
fucking meta.
Yeah.
Fuck meta. I think everybody feels that way.
Meta, not MITA.
Tired of the
Yeah,
Me-
Meta.
not
not
Meta.
Meta.
We love
Meta.
Meta.
We
I'm
love
tired of
Meta.
the harassment.
We love Meta.
and the shadow banning. We love Meta. I love.
So we got to wrap it up. But I want to tell you, I appreciate having you here because I'm going to start. Look, I cheat. If I want to know about cultivation, I just call Bill.
Yeah.
Okay? Or if I want to know about cultivation, I just call Destinee.
Yeah.
But now I have a third great resource that I honestly don't usually pick up Skunk Magazine, but now I know that if I want to be an expert on the plants and the cultivation aspects of it, I need to pick up Skunk Magazine. And most consumers should also pick up Skunk Magazine so they can understand what's happening.
Yeah.
out,
Absolutely. And I have to say, so Skunk's devotion, please spell forward. Skunk's devotion is to teach people to grow. So our legacy is teaching millions of people around the world to grow organically at home or in the industry. And our readership is both hobbyist growers, home growers, and industry growers. But we are launching next year a free magazine.
Yeah.
We're going to start it on the West Coast. It's called the Cannabis Guidebook. And that's going to be for the end consumer. And it's going to be very much for answering some needs. I'm a Californian. I'm a native Californian. So for me, it's key that under Prop 64, we're all suffering. Really, anywhere legalization happens, we see overtaxation, overregulation, genocide of the small farmer, cultural genocide. It's like, okay, well, legalization
There's a lot.
sucks. And so then how do we, again, asking, how do we remain agile? How do we keep evolving? So I'm doing a 3-prong approach, and I know we have to wrap up, but I'll just finish with this, is that we're going to have a free magazine of the people, for the people, by the people, okay? We're going to have a monthly event cycle. We're going to be doing green markets and farmers markets, and we're going to be partnering with other groups. We don't necessarily need to be there. We can have other partners across the state that can engage and do meaningful things that are multi-branded.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the
Just connect with
distribution solution. So I have a farmer program that I'm going to create to help bring farmers in and say, look, we're going to do more of a cooperative model, which I really believe in. Because the current model does not work. You can't pay the farmer, pay the distributor, pay the retail store, and everybody wins. It doesn't work. It's just not penciling out. So I feel like we need to do more cooperative type models, and there are great groups out there like Farm Cut that are doing that. And I just want to be a part of the solution and keep on being scrappy.
Absolutely.
And being unstoppable out there with my fellow colleagues.
Enjoy Hall of Flowers.
Thank you.
And then tomorrow afternoon, as you're walking by between like 2 and 5, jump on our podcast and let us know what you found at Hall of Flowers and update the audience, okay?
Great,
You are
I'd
now
love to.
a reporter for MITA Unshackled as well as everything
I
else.
would love to be.
Well, we
Sign
want to
me
thank
up.
you for coming
Thank
out,
you.
spending time with us here at the Edwin Rubis Stage, and it's always a pleasure.
Love you, Bill.
Thank you. Love you too.
Love you guys.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, Destiny closes us out.
Long live
Close-
MITA and long live Beard Bros and long live Skunk Magazine.
There you go.
Lots of love. Thank you so much.
Close us out.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you again in a couple minutes. That was another episode of MITA Unshackled.